All right, let's get right into it. In the world of personal finance, you've got two people screaming at you. In one corner, you have the debt warrior, yelling at you to pay off every single penny you owe with gazelle intensity. And in the other corner, you've got the spreadsheet guy, the finance bro, who insists that paying off cheap debt is just plain dumb, and they both think the other one is making a huge mistake. Well, today, we're going to run the numbers and find out who the real winner is. So let's meet our fighters. First up, we've got Jake, the debt destroyer. He is all in on that Dave Ramsey playbook, laser focused on one thing, killing debt. His opponent? That's Marcus, the math optimizer. He lives and dies by the spreadsheet, and he's convinced that the pure, cold math is the only thing that matters for building wealth. So here's the setup. Two guys, completely identical. Same job, same salary, same debt. But they have two wildly different plans. The big question is, after a decade, who actually has more money in the bank? And you know what? The answer is probably not what you're thinking. Now, to make this a fair fight, we have to set the stage perfectly. We're talking an identical starting line. We're taking luck and circumstance completely out of the equation. This is a pure, head-to-head battle of financial strategies. So let's check out the stats. And here's the thing. This is so normal. This could be you. Both guys are 28 years old, making a solid $55,000 a year, but they're dragging around $42,000 in debt. You know, the usual stuff, student loans, a car note, and oh yeah, that absolute monster of a credit card sitting there at 22% interest. But the real key, the number this whole thing hinges on, is at the bottom. They each have $600 left over every month. That's their weapon. And this right here is the fork in the road. It's the only difference in this whole experiment. Jake takes that $600 and throws every single penny at his debt. He's using the debt snowball method, so he's going to knock out that credit card first to get a quick win. Marcus, he thinks that's crazy. He just makes the minimum payments and plows his entire $600 into an S&P 500 index fund, chasing those big, juicy market returns. Okay, let's hit the fast forward button. We're jumping 2 years into this financial grudge match. Who's got the early lead? Is Jake's debt-crushing strategy paying off? Or is Marcus and his investment portfolio already pulling away from the pack? All right, ding, ding, ding. Round one is over. It's been 24 months. Let's head over to the scoreboard and see where our two guys are standing. And would you look at that? Marcus, our math optimizer, is actually in the lead. His investment portfolio is already worth about 16 grand. Now, he still has a lot of debt, so his net worth is negative $18,000. Jake, on the other hand, has zero in investments and a net worth of negative $19,000. So technically, the spreadsheet says Marcus is up by $1,000. So it seems like the math is winning, right? Marcus is ahead, and he didn't have to sacrifice everything to do it. But here's the catch. Spreadsheets don't have bad days. Spreadsheets don't get scared when the market crashes. And as we're about to see, the real world has a funny way of blowing up perfect plans. Okay, let's dig a little deeper here. We gotta pop the hood on Marcus's strategy because there's a huge problem lurking just below the surface, this silent killer that's dragging his whole plan down. This right here, this chart tells you everything you need to know. Marcus is all excited, chasing that 10% average market return, which, by the way, is more like 8% after you pay taxes. But at the exact same time, he is paying a guaranteed ironclad 22% on his credit card debt. Think about that. He's high-fiving himself over a potential 8% gain while he's guaranteed to lose 22%. It's just bad math. Yeah, this quote just absolutely nails it. Every single month that Marcus chooses to invest instead of paying off that high-interest debt, he's not being a genius investor. He's just writing a fat check to Visa. He thinks he's a Wall Street wolf, but really he's just their favorite customer. And look, even if we're being generous and we average out all his debt, his car, his student loans, everything, his blended interest rate is still hanging around 9 or 10%. That means his potential market return is almost completely wiped out by the guaranteed cost of his debt. He is walking a razor's edge here, and that's before the tax man comes knocking. All right, forget the warm-up. Let's jump to the main event. A full decade has gone by. These two strategies have had 10 years to prove themselves. It's time to see who actually crossed the finish line richer. Okay, here we go. 10 years later. This is the moment of truth. One guy focused on getting free from payments, the other guy focused on maxing out his returns. Let's see who really won.
So let's just quickly remember Jake's path. For the first 34 months, almost 3 years, he put $0 into investing. Everything went to destroying debt. Then he took a few months to build up a solid cash emergency fund. And then, starting around month 41, boom, he unleashed a fire hose of cash, $1,400 a month into his investments.
And the winner is Jake. After 10 years, Jake, who only invested for about 7 of them, has a net worth of roughly $170,000. Marcus, who invested from day one, is at about $150,000. Jake, the debt destroyer, won, and he won by 20 grand. He's also completely debt-free and has a fully stocked emergency fund.
So wait, how on earth did that happen? It really comes down to 2 simple things. First, by wiping out his debt so fast, Jake avoided paying about $15,000 in interest. That's money that went into his pocket, not the bank's. And second, once he was debt-free, his ability to invest was on a whole other level. It turns out that $1,400 a month growing for 7 years beats $600 a month growing for 10.
But you know what's crazy? The math isn't even the real story here. Because the biggest risk to any financial plan, your biggest opponent, isn't the stock market or some high interest rate. The real enemy is you. Okay, you have got to understand this. This JP Morgan study is insane. It shows that while the stock market as a whole might have returned around 10% a year, the average person investing in it only earned about 3%. Why? Because we give back the other 7%. We get scared, we get greedy, and we sell at the worst possible time.
And that is the secret weapon of Jake's plan. It's built for real life. For those first few years, he doesn't give a rip what the market is doing. It can go to the moon or crash to zero. It doesn't matter. You can't panic sell stocks you don't even own. Marcus's plan, though, demands that you be a financial robot for a decade. It expects you to watch your life savings get cut in half and just calmly keep investing. Let's be honest, who can actually do that?
And that's the whole point right there. The reason the debt-first plan so often comes out on top isn't because it's morally superior. It's not even purely because of the math. It wins because it's a plan built for human beings. It's a plan with guardrails, built to save us from ourselves. Okay, so what does this mean for you? Let's make this simple. First, rule number 1, no exceptions. Get your full 401k match from your job. It is free money. For everything else, if your debt has an interest rate over 8%, the math is clear. Kill the debt. If it's under 5%, you've got a really strong case for investing instead. And that gray area in the middle, between 5 and 7%, well, that's all about you. You have to be brutally honest with yourself. Are you a robot or a human? So let's wrap it up with this one big idea. The best financial plan on earth is completely worthless if you get scared and abandon it halfway through. A good plan that you can actually stick with is priceless. So forget what everyone else is yelling about. Look at the numbers, but more importantly, look in the mirror. So the real question is, which plan will you actually see through to the end? Because that's the only answer that truly matters.